I'm coming. I'm just answering a couple of questions. Okay.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Yeah.
So, Larry, first of all, do you need anything? I have some herb. You seem like you had some herb yourself, but I'm gonna give you something before you go.
No, actually,
need something?
I ran out.
Oh, well, let me. You can go big or you can go small. I got something for you, Larry. This is from the valley, so we can go however you want to go. These are organic, Larry. I only bring the legends, the good stuff. So however you want to go. They have a little match too. This thing is so cool, Larry, because look at it. These people are awesome. It's from Lowell Farms in Lowell, California, and they grow this organic weed, and they have a whole family story. It's amazing. I don't know. That's why I love California.
Wow.
That's why I will probably never leave California, Larry. All right, Larry, I have to make sure I have you recording. So, Larry, now that we are officially recording, I have to say how damn good it is to see you in the flesh, my brother. It's a joy. It's a pure joy every time to see you perform. It's a giant honor for me as a reggae journalist every time to speak with you, one of the best, most legendary hand drummers that this world and forget the world, this universe has ever seen. And as I told you earlier, the coolest conga playing cat around, in my opinion. So now, Larry, that being said officially on the record, let me also say something which I said to you before we started to record, which was this show tonight with the Skatalites that I just saw you perform at was just amazing. I mean, the crowd was thrilled. I was thrilled to be here as your guest, and I just thank you so much for inviting me because it was an amazing performance. This is a bit of a loaded question, Larry. But
here we go.
Since I know you just celebrated your 85th birthday, and blessed Earth Strong, my friend, and this happened exactly 1 week ago today on June 11th. I want to ask, how does it feel to be here at age 85 on Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles, still able to thrill and send a crowd home happy the way you just did?
Well, to put it in perspective, right? I remember when the Roxy and the Whiskey wanted to book reggae.
The Roxy and the
Whiskey a Go-Go. Yeah. Elmer and Mario. And they would call me and ask me if Burning Spear, they want us to book Burning Spear. Do you think we should get? I say, you damn right better get Burning Spear. You know. So this is like in the early days. Now to be sitting here having a show with the Skatalites.
Yeah.
Which even those are younger set of guys, for me is like a homecoming because of the music, see? Because we were playing the music that we grew up on.
Those songs have existed since the start.
Okay. My perspective on the Skatalites, before we go on, right?
Yeah.
The Skatalites is Jamaica's only legacy band. Legacy band in terms of like the Duke Ellington band still playing, the Count Basie band still touring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's not a matter of who is here from who did music.
Yeah.
This is the only Jamaican band that I know that the repertoire is being played, and interpreted, albeit by modern players and with a different voice. But basically, the songs are the same.
Yeah. I could tell that tonight.
So it's Jamaica's only legacy band.
Wow. Yeah. So
for me,
and it must feel, and it feels good for you to be playing those songs that you grew up on, and that.
Yeah, it's kind of like coming home. So now I'm getting a chance to play the stuff that's been going around in my head for the past 50, 60 years.
It's interesting that you say that, like, to me, Larry, because like I said to you before we started to record, I was looking at some of the two past interviews that you and I had done, and the last two times I'll remind you, and also people who will later listen to this interview or read it, that I was blessed to interview you in 2017 and 2018, and at that time you were performing not far from here at the famed Dub Club with Subatomic Sound System, and of course the late legendary Lee Scratch Perry, may he rest in power and in peace. And you actually said something to me in one of those interviews, same thing, that you are now, after all these years, and it was in a different context because we were talking about the trust that Scratch had in you now, that now, after all this time, you finally could do the shit that you wanted to do without worrying about, you know, back in the day when you first started with Scratch, of course, it was a different thing. And the reason, Larry, that I wanted to also to bring this up is, I personally, I thought myself that Scratch would maybe live to see 100. I mean, the guy was just, I was shocked, and I was really saddened by the news of his passing. And one of the first things I thought about was you and how you were handling the loss. And I was a bit nervous to bring it up, as you know. But when I first interviewed you, I want to remind you that you said to me, this was a quote from you. You said, quote, basically, to this day, producers don't really know what to do with the percussionist when it comes to reggae. And I was curious whether one of the reasons why your bond with Scratch, was so tight was because he was one of those producers that did know what to do with a percussionist.
Yeah, he'd get you in there and somehow communicate by whatever means, more or less what he wanted you to play,
And he was into those cool, funky sounds too, though, right?
Yeah, he was
he was into it, the percussion.
Yeah, he wanted all the odd sounding stuff on the shit, the weird sounding. He was like, he was pretty much ahead of the game when it came to that.
If you don't mind me asking, Larry, what, when that happened, I'm sure that Subatomic Sound System, everyone must have been very, very upset to hear about that. And, did you have you come to any peace with the Scratch's passing? And is there anything that you want to say about Scratch's legacy as a man and as a producer and musician? You've said a lot to me before, but now that he's gone,
what I should hope is that the government recognizes it, and the Jamaican government, would really realize who he was in the scheme of things, musical, worldwide, not only Jamaica. Think of all the acts that he produced.
And hit and even influence on things like hip hop.
Of course.
Yeah.
And a prophet is not without honor, save in his own country.
Wow. Yeah.
I think that's a quote from Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, I don't remember the context, but it was like, you know, here he was performing miracles and the rest of the world is read up, you know, and to his brothers and sisters, he's just a carpenter from Galilee.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know, and the thing that struck me, and I just want to mention, is that, you know, one of the things that you and I had talked about in our past interviews was, you know, that people didn't realize that, you know, that they sometimes would focus on those eccentricities of scratch and not realize that sometimes some of the things that he was saying is just genius. And when I go back and look at some of the things he said in the interviews, even with me, there were things that he said to me that I didn't realize until I later went home and looked at what he said and was like, oh shit, this guy, whoa, blew my mind about what he was so far ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, having worked together over the past, like, 10 years of his life.
Yeah.
You know, he was like, I think he had come to terms with most of the stuff that he railed against, and, you know, and he was forgiving too, you know, he'd forgive people.
Nice.
You know?
That's so good to hear. That's nice.
You know, I mean, he'd be pissed off, you know, but but he, you know, and stay pissed off, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, that thing in him that keeps him on track, you know, that centers him.
You could tell he had a warm heart.
Oh yeah.
Larry, in our past interviews, we spoke a good deal about one of my personal favorite albums, and we're talking about your masterpiece solo album, Drumquestra. And I hate to be that guy, but both times when I saw you, you talked about how you were going to be a sequel, and you were going to maybe work with Sidney Mills, and you were going to get out another album. And I want to ask, has that ship sailed, or are we going to see another Larry McDonald solo album?
I'm thinking that you will, but it's Sidney right now has been busy, and what with the COVID and all that stuff, the lockdown, you know, I wasn't like focusing on it like that, but it's not as I forgot about it or don't intend to do it.
Good, so friends like me can continue to still push you and you won't be upset with us.
No, man. I just have to do it because it's something that I need to do.
Because frankly, when I saw you get up on stage just tonight, and I wasn't ready for it, but you sang. What song did you sing tonight? You sang two songs, I think.
Yeah. The first one was a mento that was done as a ska by Lord Tanamo with the Skatalites.
Yeah.
And the second one was I'm in the mood for ska, which is I'm in the mood for love.
Yeah. Well, it was wicked, and I'll remind you that you told me when I would talk to you about your album, you're like, I didn't know I could sing either, but you clearly do, you clearly can, and I hope that we'll get another album from you. Following Scratch's passing, I know that you worked with Subatomic, you kept working with Subatomic Sound System, and one of the things you did, I'll remind you, is you worked with Yardcore, and you and I maybe talked about it, but Yardcore and I had an interview with him, and we spoke about two things that are very relevant to you. We talked about your wicked percussion on his remake of John Holt's Police and Helicopter, where you're in the official video, and it's super wicked. And we also talked with Larry about the Jamaican government's continued failure to honor legendary musicians like yourself for their many, many decades of contributions to the music. And So I wanted to let you know that we talked about that. Other than that wicked collaboration, Larry, with Yadcore, I believe you'll be touring overseas with the Skatalites soon.
Yeah.
And are there any other musical endeavors or projects or things that all the very many Larry McDonald fans should, and I'm the biggest one, or maybe, and at least I would like to claim, but what should we be aware of that you're going to keep doing, that we should just keep our eye out for Larry, for what you're doing? What do you got going on in the works, Larry? What's in the pot? What are you mixing? You told me you were a good cook in one of our interviews. What are you mixing in the pot going forward? Just going to keep doing the Skatalites and working with Subatomics, huh?
No, well, like I said, the Skatalites is kind of like a homecoming to me, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to stop doing that, you know, but I'm sure they'll leave me some time to do something for myself.
Nice.
You know?
They'll give you time to do that second album. Larry, my friend, I just have one last question for you. I know you need to, the band is waiting on you, and you need to actually get back to where you're going. But admittedly, again, this is a bit of a loaded question, like I started with, but I would argue it's loaded with goodness.
Okay.
In our past interviews, Larry, you told me you wanted to be the conga player. You just wanted to be the conga player, and that you wanted to fatten the pulse of the rhythm. I personally think, and I hope and pray, that you'll still be doing both of these things for many, many, many years to come. Still, would you please offer your thoughts on this one question? When it's all said and done, and all the history books are written, what do you hope you'll be remembered about in terms of your musical career? What do you think? What do you hope to be remembered for?
Well, I would like to think that because of my stubbornness, you know, I kind of forged a place for my instrument of choice at the table, at the reggae table, you know.
Yeah.
And
thank you for doing that, Larry.
The thing is that people in Jamaica, people who do the awards and all that, they have no idea of what I'm doing. They don't know the amount of bands in New York.
They don't pay attention to
that call me to come play with them, to do stuff in New York. It's not one kind of band, but they all interested in Jamaican music, and they all call me.
And they should be calling you.
You know, and the thing is, I'm not a bitter kind of a guy. You know,
I've never sensed that from you, Larry.
Because I figure that if what I did was worth anything in the scheme of things, somebody will come along and see it and say, but wait a minute, nobody ever said this, or nobody like approached it like this before, or I just want to know that it is recognized that whether you like it or not, I have even one little square inch of ground that I have cultivated in this music.
Well, Larry, my brother, you have cultivated fields in this music. You have to know that.
I just don't want to go to waste, you know.
Larry, your music will live forever. Your music and your legacy is going to live forever. And I just want to thank you so much, Larry, for everything.
Look, I got to thank you for the stuff that you've been writing. about reggae music, Steve. I mean, this man is such a prolific writer. I have to show you some of the stuff that he wrote.
Thank you so
And
much.
about the various artists, obscure artists, quotation marks, and he'll find them and the whole piece,
And then I send it to Larry because because he's the only person's really opinion I really care about.
I wanted to interject, but not on thing. But Sydney's got so much more time on his hands now.
Nice.
Unfortunately,
but
that's another whole ball of wax right there. But,
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
But
I don't know
but
what to say
he
about that,
but but we still have.
we'll give you all the time you need to do something else. Don't worry.
No, I mean we find the time, man.
Yeah.
We find the time, Ken.
We have to do get you on some Skatalites stuff. Come on.
Oh, but of course.
And then invite me, and I will be out here to see
Okay.
you, my friend.
Okay.
We have so many
Please
tracks
do
that
it.
we can